like to say.
Good morning, comrades.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to tonight's town board meeting for tonight, Wednesday, June 10th, 2023. I'll call the meeting in order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Deputy Supervisor Charles to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll ask the clerk to fill the roll.
Okay, Councilman Winonu here. Councilman Weisman.
Here.
Here. Deputy Supervisor Charles.
Here.
And Supervisor Speck.
Here, thank you. We have a full board. So we'll start with public participation. If anybody from the public wishes to address us, we have an opportunity to do so. Anybody, who's minutes?
Hi, Deborah Munitz, 5 Roseville Road. Just a couple quick questions. I was wondering, particularly with the 2 PUDs on the schedule tonight, will you be adding them and other applications as they come into the website?
Yeah.
Okay, because I would have liked to have been able to look at the materials for tonight's meeting, so I don't have any comments on them. The other question was, there's a local law that's coming up, and I was looking for that on the website as well. I think you set the, in tonight's, I saw it's for July.
And they are, I think there are on the,
I didn't see it.
we looked, we, that was, you asked me to
We
look
talked about it 2 days
last,
ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they are somewhere.
I didn't see it in the
Our
minutes
clerk
being
is
approved, so I
indicating
was
that.
wondering.
Oh, you're not indicating it. Where?
We're transitioning.
Okay, so where would they be now? On the old site?
We'll make sure they're up.
All right, either way, we'll make sure they're up
Okay,
as soon as possible.
thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Anybody else wish to speak at this time? There's nobody, so the motion by Deputy Supervisor Strauss to close public participation, seconded Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstained, carries 5-0. So we'll go to item 2, which is a comprehensive plan and a DGIS update. I will say that we have our planners from NJ, Jackie Hayes and Nisha Sandals here, and we have our land use attorney, Ben Daly. So take it away, NJ.
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor. Good evening, members of the board. While we are sharing our screen and pulling up the presentation, each of you at the dais do have a copy of this presentation, but thanks to Harry and company, you should be able to see it as well. All right, I think we're good. So I'm Jackie Hakes, and we are happy to be here to share an update with all of you on where we are in the comprehensive planning process. We are going to go over a couple of items very quickly that should be very familiar to you, but we thought in case there were members of the community here that hadn't been following to give an update on what the comprehensive plan and the GEIS, the Generic Environmental Impact Statement, is. We want to share with you public engagement to date and what that some of the common themes and what we're hearing from the community, and then share an emerging vision, goals, and some concepts, and then talk about next steps. Again, this should be familiar to many of you, but in terms of background, this board did adopt in July of 2022 an amendment to your current comprehensive plan with regard to the Northeast Corridor. And now we are undertaking a comprehensive plan update for the remaining unincorporated areas for the town of Ramapo. So that's Muncie, Hillcrest, and Western Ramapo. And this would be an update to your 2004 townwide comprehensive plan. The way we do that and the purpose of the comprehensive plan is to guide the community, guide the future of this town. It's purposely broad in nature, so we're looking at a variety of topics, and we're looking community-wide. So we are looking at all of these unincorporated areas collectively. The document that results in your updated comprehensive plan will be something that looks at your existing conditions, the current state, looking at what the future is, that vision for your community, identifying actions to get there, and then how are you implementing things. And this is all guided, the comprehensive plan effort is guided by town law. So what are we doing for this comprehensive plan update? There was done as part of that original Northeast plan, a town-wide existing conditions. So we are updating that town-wide existing conditions report. There are a series of public engagement activities that have happened. As I mentioned, we're going to walk through those today. It will include a set of vision and goals, as well as emerging concepts for land use and future land use. And ultimately, it will culminate in a draft comprehensive plan and a generic environmental impact statement. And I'm going to touch on that in a moment. And that GEIS, the Generic Environmental Impact Statement, satisfies the State Environmental Quality Review Act requirements, or the seeker requirements. A little overview of seeker. Essentially, seeker is a requirement that any action that this board undertakes must comply with. And the intent is to balance the social, economic, and environmental factors in any of your decision-making processes. A town comprehensive plan amendment is subject to seeker. And a town comprehensive plan can serve as a generic environmental impact statement. And that's what's happening here. That's the same process that this board undertook for the Northeast Corridor Amendment. So what has happened so far? You, as the town board, have classified this action, if you will, which is the preparation and potential adoption of your comprehensive plan, under seeker, and issued a positive declaration. That's the technical procedural trigger for the preparation of your generic environmental impact statement / comprehensive plan. So in the fall of 2025, you worked through the preparation of a scoping document, which identified, essentially it's an outline of all of the topics that will be evaluated in your comprehensive plan / GEIS. There was a public scoping session that occurred in the beginning of January this year. And then at the end of January, you, as the lead agency under seeker, adopted the scoping document. Since then, we have been working through that process I identified, including a series of public engagement activities, updating the townwide existing conditions plan to prepare that draft generic environmental impact statement. And once that has been prepared in draft form, you all will be reviewing that and determining when it is ready for the public to review. We're going to walk through that process in a little bit. And then there will be, we expect you would want to hold a public hearing, but there will be a formal public comment period. And we expect that to happen this summer. And then the future steps would be dependent on the public comment that is being submitted. In terms of public engagement, so there is a project webpage where any materials that have come or been presented to the public or come out of the public in terms of summaries of input have been posted. The draft townwide existing conditions has been posted. There's a contact form. People can leave comments there for us. We've held 2 public open houses. There has been a community survey. That was an online survey. We did have a pop-up table at last year's Ramapo Safety Extravaganza. There's a meeting in the box option available in the supervisor's office, and multiple languages are available where people can provide their input. That has been set up and translated in Creole, Yiddish, and Spanish. We have had discussions with your land use boards, an interactive discussion with the planning board as well as the zoning board this past month. There was a developer roundtable that was held in January of this year with town staff as well as our group. And we've been having a series of stakeholder discussions over the course of the last year and a half. And we've also been meeting with town staff. So we've been having workshops and ongoing conversations with town staff about key issues related to the various topics of this. So overall, in terms of reaching the community, reaching the public, which is critical to getting input and shaping the vision, there have been over 200 in-person contacts, 60 plus open house attendees, over 200. The safety extravaganza was really where we were able to reach a large portion of the community. Over 100 online survey responses, over 400 visitors to the project webpage, and over 20 different stakeholder group meetings, including local and regional partners, the county, pardon me, Rosa, Palisades Interstate Park Commission, various neighborhood groups, as well as the development community. So what have we heard from the community through all of this public engagement? It should not be surprising to you some of the common themes that we are hearing over and over again: traffic, transportation, walkability. Had a chance to listen in on the workshop with regard to traffic safety just a few moments ago. Housing and development, infrastructure, parks, recreation, and open space. So based on that input, based on what we are learning through the existing conditions analysis, there is a vision, a draft vision that we would like to share with you, and a series of goals and some of the emerging concepts to support that. And that's what we're hoping to share with you tonight. First of all, though, what is a vision? Just so we're all on the same page. So it does establish a long-term direction for the town over the next 5, 10, or 20 years. It is the basis for your comprehensive plan and recommendations that will help you get to achieve your vision. And so this draft vision that I'm going to walk through very briefly, but you have there, was gathered with input from the public engagement, was shared with the community, and refined slightly based on that input. I am going to read this. I do need to move a window here. So this is a lot of text. We have underlined and bolded some of the critical text. Pardon me. And so I am going to just read this for everybody. The Muncie, Hillcrest, and Western Ramapo areas are a unique mix of rural, suburban, and emerging urban neighborhoods. Residents experience a high quality of life, supported by diverse businesses, cultures, and character. Ramapo is ready for the future with thoughtful, well-managed growth that supports compact, walkable neighborhoods where people can live, work, and play. Parks and recreational amenities will be expanded and natural resources protected. A focus on attainable housing ensures that families of all types and at every stage of life can find a place to call home. Safe streets, reliable infrastructure, thank you very much, and accessible community services tie everything together. Rooted in family, faith, and connection, Ramapo Ready means everyone can thrive. Thank you, Mona. So based on that vision and based on what we were hearing from the community in terms of those common themes, we've identified this series of topic areas for the goals to set forth in the plan: housing, transportation, infrastructure, sustainable development, parks and recreation, natural resources, and environmental health. In no particular order of priority, these are the goal topic areas. And we're going to talk through, and I'm going to hand it over to Anisha to talk through the draft goals. She snuck up behind me on the other side, to talk through the draft goals and some emerging concepts. And I do want to underscore, these are draft. So we're sharing these with you when the DGEIS and comprehensive plan has been fully drafted. You will have the opportunity to review these in more detail and provide comments and shape these in a way that is appropriate.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Anisha Samuels, and I'll be going through the draft goals and some emerging concepts. As Jackie mentioned, these are draft goals and emerging concepts subject to change based on your feedback. And I do want to point out that these goals were developed based on the input we've gathered from stakeholders, including local groups, including PIP and ROSA, and other local partners and stakeholders, such as developers. The first draft goal that we'll be looking at today is a draft goal for housing. So for this particular goal, we have developed a concept, which is to expand housing options by reducing the regulatory barriers and encouraging a diverse range of housing types and at price points that are attainable for individuals and families of all kinds and at every stage of their lives. So for that particular draft goal, we have developed 3 emerging concepts to address that goal based on the feedback we have received from the public, stakeholders, regional groups, local partners. And these emerging concepts include to maintain and protect neighborhood characters, as well as to require adequate parking and the installation and maintenance of vegetative buffers in areas that require these buffers, specifically in areas where you have non-residential uses in residential neighborhoods. The third emerging concept is to increase residential densities in areas that are appropriate. The second draft goal pertains to transportation. Again, this is a draft goal, and the goal states to promote a complete streets network that improves safety and accessibility for all users, with a particular focus on increasing pedestrian access and connectivity while minimizing the impacts on traffic congestion while protecting the quality of life. To achieve this draft goal, we have developed 3 emerging concepts. The first concept being to adopt and implement the complete streets principles in transportation planning. The second concept is to implement the improvements based on the townwide traffic study completed in 2023, and also by implementing the improvements in the Safe Streets Comprehensive Action Plan completed in May of this year. The third emerging concept for transportation is to ensure the continued targeted investment in such infrastructure. The third draft goal we have is infrastructure. For this particular draft goal, we have developed a goal which states to make strategic investments in water, sewer, stormwater systems in already developed areas and encourage future development with existing infrastructure capacity to support long-term growth and environmental health. To achieve this draft goal, we have developed 3 concepts or emerging concepts. The first being to prioritize strategic investment in water, sewer, and stormwater infrastructure. The second being to promote green infrastructure, and the third being to continue the coordination with the water purveyor. The town is currently in the process of coordination with the purveyor, and we're working through development challenges as they may occur or arise. The next draft goal pertains to sustainable development. So for this draft goal, our concept is to promote well-managed, inclusive growth that supports long-term community resilience by encouraging development patterns that preserve community cohesion and align with infrastructure capacity. Growth should enhance quality of life while minimizing impacts on essential services and supporting equitable access to housing, transportation options, and opportunity. To achieve this draft goal, we have developed 3 concepts, the first being to guide new development and redevelopment to locations where adequate public infrastructure or facilities, services such as transportation, utilities, schools, and emergency services can effectively support such additional growth. The second emerging concept is to facilitate development of centralized neighborhood nodes, and the third being to incorporate sustainable design and construction practices. The next draft goal pertains to parks and recreation. So for this particular goal, our intent is to enhance and expand access to well-maintained, small-scale recreational public spaces that includes schools, playground, pocket parks, and provide neighborhood-based recreation and leisure opportunities and support an active lifestyle for all residents of all ages and abilities and strengthen community cohesion. The emerging concepts that supports this draft goal includes to enhance and expand access to well-maintained, small-scale recreational and public spaces, including playgrounds, pocket parks, and neighborhood gathering areas. The second concept that supports this draft goal would be to require play area and open spaces per development. The third concept to support this draft goal would be to develop a centralized indoor recreation and community center. The last draft goal we have today would be as it pertains to natural resources and environmental health. So the draft goal here is to balance development and protection of critical resources by encouraging land use patterns and site design that minimize environmental impacts. The emerging concept that supports this draft goal is to promote land use and development patterns that balance responsible growth with the protection of natural resources. The second emerging concept that supports this goal is to implement strategies such as cluster development, conservation design, and the preservation of natural buffers. This particular goal is very relevant to Western Ramapo, where we intend to achieve this particular goal, we intend to limit development to some extent and encourage the protection of natural resources. Now we'll move to next steps. So currently we're in the phase of preparing the DGIS. The next step will be for the town board to determine as lead agency to determine if the project is completed and issue a notice of completion. Once that has been issued, there's a public comment period, which should not be less than 30 days, but can be however long is necessary to gather the input necessary from the public. The next step would be a town board public hearing. Following that would be the preparation of the FGIS and response to the public comment. For that section, there has to be a formal response to all the public comments received, and that's when that will happen during that stage. Following that step would be the secret finding statements and the adoption of the comprehensive plan. If you have any questions, we'll be very happy to take them at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody from the board, any questions for
Um,
our planners?
Yeah, I noticed one thing you wrote, that you're using a traffic study from 2023.
Mhm.
Wasn't that through COVID? Didn't COVID, wasn't that during that
So
time?
that traffic study is the most recent one that was done. There has been some updates to that traffic study, but it's not.
Wouldn't it be, I think it would probably be prudent to do a new traffic study?
So the traffic study that was done in 2023 has not been outdated. If anything,
Probably should be, no?
typically 3 years is.
But COVID was the odd time traffic
Well,
wise.
COVID was 20 and 21. I think by fall of 2020, things were pretty much open.
Yeah, so COVID happened 2020 through 2022, I would
I
say.
think it was 2023. I was looking online before. It said it ended May 2023.
So this traffic study was published.
Online, that's what it had.
May
I would-
2023, you said?
Yeah.
I would say this about the traffic study. 3 years is about the time frame from which traffic counts are taken to understand what the
We
challenges
had an
are.
anomaly that
of a-
went, yeah.
Sure, sure. And no question about that. But I think what we have found with the traffic study is the key intersections, and I think there are 20 plus intersections within the town that were evaluated, is that there are significant challenges with those intersections, even if there were anomalies with that data that need to be addressed. Some of which are in the process of being addressed and improvements and design that the town is slowly starting, not slowly, but, methodically working through those improvements. But there are several others remaining to
We
be
did the
made.
Safe Streets. Safe Streets.
So,
took-
yes.
And the safe streets would serve as an update to that. And part of what is, part of what we are identifying is what are those remaining intersections that still need improvements, because the traffic is not getting any better without this.
Are
But
we-
that would be, entirely up to this board in terms of how you want to address that. But, yeah.
You made mention that the western part of Rampo, you were gonna look, I guess, leave fallow. I don't know, whatever the term you use more for environmental things. Are you looking at primary areas within Rampo that may be overly congested that we would be preventing future development for?
So one of our major emerging concepts focus on potential neighborhood nodes. And the intent of that would be to redistribute traffic from the Muncie area, potentially into the northern area, Hillcrest area. So that should address the concern of having neighborhood nodes that will redirect the traffic and congestion from the Muncie area.
No, I'm
The other-
talking about, let's say,
Yeah.
Route 59, the corner of Route 59 and Main Street. That
Mhm.
place is like out of control.
Yeah.
Are we doing anything to prevent future development in that area?
So if I could, what we are looking to do is to focus growth in these areas that already have infrastructure, recognizing improvements do need to occur with the transportation system. However, those neighborhood nodes that Anisha was talking about, the idea of those nodes is to have a mix of uses that are walkable for people. So community members don't have to get into a vehicle to add to the traffic that is already on the streets now. So that's the idea of being able to have these mixed use livable nodes where everything you need is or most is
what do you
within
mean
a
by a
walking
node?
distance. So
What are you meaning by a node?
just a center, an area that might have housing, and within walking distance of a grocery, within walking distance of school, kind of a true mixed-use neighborhood that with multiple services available. So there's no way really practically to resolve all of the traffic issues, right?
Yeah,
Just
but I'm not
practically
looking for us
speaking.
to increase it and make it worse than it already is.
So in the concept of these nodes in these mixed use centers, if you will, and we can use whatever terminology works, is to create more opportunities for walkability to eliminate or reduce, not eliminate, but to reduce the necessity for vehicles. And that's kind of, what we are seeing in terms of good planning practices. And it's not going to resolve all of the challenges and the concerns that you're talking about, but the idea is incrementally to help with what we're doing.
One of the recommendations that came out of the Safe Streets initiative was to have a walkable neighborhood.
Maybe you should explain what that we want a grant for.
Yeah, the Safe Streets for All.
So May 2026 of this year, the board adopted the Safe Streets for All plan. The plan basically had some initiatives put forward that are supportive of more compact neighborhoods, walkable neighborhoods. And this neighborhood node concept is supportive of that initiative, where you will have neighborhood nodes in strategic locations to kind of eliminate or reduce the traffic congestion on the Muncie area itself, and kind of have those traffics within those traffic being rediverted to those areas, and promoting walkable neighborhoods where people can walk from home to their neighborhood convenience store or to school or to whatever other social uses that are within that area, and preventing the further traffic within the Muncie 305 to 306 area.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board for our planners? We say thank you very much for your presentation. We look forward to hearing future developments.
Sure. And if we could just, as one last closing comment, Supervisor, if you have thoughts, ideas, or questions after this, please feel free to reach out to us as we're developing and getting ready to share with you the draft plan. Please
We
reach
were
out.
just changing it to rampwood.gov, which is our new, under the law, on the website, our new website.
Okay.
So in case somebody gets sidetracked.
Okay.
Thank you so
We
much.
will
Thank
do
you
that.
both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Coming in to the presentation. Thank you. Okay, we will move on now to item 3, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 27, 2026. Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second. I'll second for the motion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, carries 4 to
Yes, you have
0.
two abstentions.
Oh,
Two
abstaining.
abstentions.
I'm sorry, carries 3 to 0 with 2 abstentions. Item 4, Town Attorney, item A, secret lead agency designation, adopting positive declaration, distributing draft scoping document for the Carlton Road Community Petition. Ms. Slater.
Yeah, so the town board would be adopting a positive declaration. There was a scoping document that was submitted. It will be circulated to all involved and interested agencies. And then the town board needs to hold a public scoping session for oral and written comments. I think it's been recommended that that date is July 8th.
Very good. I know we have Mr. Daly, our outside land use counsel here, and he's familiar with this as well. Is there anything you would need to advise to the board on this agenda item?
I don't think so. I think it's highlights.
Great, thank you. So, do we have a motion to approve the resolution to declare ourselves lead agency for secret?
That's just the board of things because in the process, what is this designation
Sure.
mean, was represent as
Mr.
far as the overall plans? I was asked if you can address the board and just walk us through the process. Explain this designation as lead agency in reference to the overall plan. I say myself, as a board member, I'm still very uncomfortable with the plan as presented to the board. And here we're running ahead and we're declaring ourselves lead agency. At what point in this process are we gonna have an input to the layouts, to the outline? We're gonna be asked to vote on this. I don't want to hear in a year from now, oh, you should have said this a year ago. Here I am saying it. I have certain concerns. I have certain issues I'd like to be addressed. What impact does this have on my ability to do that?
His ability or our ability to make changes or address issues within the proposal.
This project refers to the comprehensive plan.
No, the PUDs.
This application.
No, PUD in general, I think, is the challenge, and this is just an example of it.
Well, it's the first, these are the first ones through the door. And I feel like we haven't even had a real direction, especially from your office, saying, this is the process to approve a PUD. Every second meeting, there's something on the agenda. I've asked this question before and I'll ask it again. How do we get a PUD? Point A to point B. How do we get it approved? How do we get it reviewed? At what point does the board give input? The last time we were told we're going to CDRC, it's coming back. CDRC never heard from the board what the board wants to see on the site. At what point are we going to get an outline, say, this is the process. That's what we'll show you, this is what we want to hear from you. Here's you will speak up, here's we will be quiet. That's fine. But I'd like some direction.
Sure. Let me process right now. Like it later. Running.
Thank you.
But this is very, very early in the process. This budget decision. The board previously circulated notice of intent meetings at 30-day time period long expired. Board previously referred this proposed project BRC.
Could we trouble you to go to the mic? Yeah, please, thanks.
And receive comments concerning that. So tonight, all the board is doing is designating itself as lead agency for seeker purposes, for the seeker review, issuing the positive declaration, which is a determination that this proposed project may have a significant adverse impact on the environment. And the resolution before you tonight, attached to that is a long list of the potential significant adverse impacts, and then some itemization on each of those as well. And then the last part of the resolution tonight is the applicant had prepared a draft scoping outline. The scoping outline is a document that sets forth all the different issues that would have to be addressed in the environmental impact statement. And that, again, under the seeker regs, that was prepared by the applicant. The board is not approving that scoping outline tonight. The board is merely authorizing the distribution of that outline to involved agencies and making it public. So when the board holds the public scoping session, which you could hold as a list is stated on July 8th, the public then, and also outside agencies, will have the opportunity to recommend to the board or suggest to the board that other issues be added, or that the draft scope prepared by the applicant be modified in different ways. And ultimately, then it's the town board that approves the final scoping outline, which basically is essentially like the table of contents for the EIS that will be prepared for the proposed project.
Here's my question. How scoping document of what? What are we scoping? We don't even know.
Well, the resolution does describe the proposed project. I don't have that in front of me right now. In terms of number of proposed dwelling units, square feet of commercial space, size of the acreage and that sort of thing. And there are also attached to the draft scope are some sketches of what the applicant is proposing. But at this point, there's not a great bit of detail at this point. Well, thank you.
And let me just ask a question to clarify,
Sure.
and I think this might be part of the concerns. The scoping process is not a consideration of the merits of the application. We're not looking at the type of units, the layout, the density, the uses, things like that at this stage.
What are we?
Well, we're not looking to approve. We're not looking to.
You're not. You're not.
The scoping is to see what items we have to consider as part of the process. Is that correct?
Shouldn't
That's correct.
we at this point, at least on some level, at least know what our direction on this is
What do you mean?
as the board? We haven't had a single workshop or meeting discussion of this project is presenting this much multifamily, this much commercial, this much whatever. Is this direction that we want to go on?
They were here, weren't they? Didn't they come
They
in
were
a
here,
couple
they
of
made, I
times?
have
There was
to
a
miss the,
presentation.
I've seen their
Discussion.
submittals.
Right.
Let me refer that to Mr. Gailey. What would the process be to address Vice Mills?
I think the process is to follow the procedures that are in the town's PUD law, which is to initially get comments from the CDRC and the planning board, which happened here on this proposed project, and then commence the secret review process, which is exactly what the board is doing, and that's what the PUD law authorizes the board to do or guides the board to do. There is a layout of the proposed project as part of the draft scope that was submitted by the applicant. And the resolution describes it as the proposal is 562 dwelling units, 110 one-bedrooms, 266 two-bedrooms, 106 three-bedrooms, 84 bedrooms in 19 buildings, and 105,600 square feet of commercial, retail, or office space in 2 buildings. And they provide a map as well as a location of the property and a list of the various plans that have been submitted to the board to start this process. But again, it's very early on, and it's typical with any development project in any town for that matter, that the detailed plans don't get submitted until later in the process, until the boards have had the opportunity to inform the applicant of what it is they do and don't like about the application.
Now, here's the difference. Lay it out. My concern, typically, a board is working with a zoning map. He finds what's allowed by use in this particular zone. And the board might give a variance, might give a waiver, might give some other types of allowances to entice a certain type of development. The POD law was created to give broader authority, A, to the town board to control these particular parcels, and B, for developers to be innovative and come up with new ideas to handle these bigger parcels. This means the town board at some point early on has to at least indicate that this is the direction we want to go on this. At that point, you could review it, you could scope it, you could sign and come back for approval. But in what stratosphere we're running 10 steps ahead? We don't even know what the town board wants. I'm just saying, they want us to be lead agency, we'll be lead agency. I'll vote. I'm just pointing out on the record, I have some very serious concerns with development as is. I think we're going out of order.
But you're exactly right that the PUD law gives the town board complete discretion in terms of approving, modifying, denying, or not even considering a PUD petition. And we're at step 1 right now. The scoping is the very first step in the secret process. And, my recommendation to the board is to go ahead and proceed with this resolution. Because again, that's just going to provide more information for the board as the petition, might proceed through the process.
Thank you.
What more information do you think is going to come that's going to be in addition to this?
100 times more.
Like what? No, what? Give me an example.
These are all just.
I want to hear from our attorney.
This is just an outline right now. Nothing in this resolution or in the scoping outline, addresses like how much traffic will be generated or how much water usage there will be. That will all be contained in the DEIS. And that's one of the, and that's in the scoping outline that information must be provided in the DEIS. But that definitive information itself is not part of the scoping outline. The outline is just the issues that have to be addressed.
But to the councilman's point, we're trying to create a new concept over here. Okay, the concept that you're following is how everything else is being done. You know, to me, I think traffic should be prior to this. I think the board should have a much more involved, at least with the suggestions of what they've made, which I know personally, seeing even the suggestions, I feel bad for the developer. I don't want to be 6 months, a year down the line and have a conversation with the developer because I have significant concerns for what they've already created over here. And I just don't feel it's even fair to the developer to have that surprise when we're going at this pace in the direction that we're going. In fact, I don't know why we went to CDRC before the board even was involved in it.
Well, no, we went to CDRC because our PUD law requires a referral
Right.
to CDRC to determine if the application is complete for the board to then take a look.
So I think then maybe we created the law with, there's a mistake in the law the way we created it. It should not have gone humbly, I say this, to the CDRC before the board had a real,
It doesn't go to this, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it doesn't go to CDRC for approval. It goes to CDRC so our professional staff can review it and determine if they provided what is needed for the application process to commence. That's just the initial gatekeeping mechanism.
but I think that we're.
You can shake your head all you want, but I'm going to rely on what Mr. Gailey is.
No, but I guess the question that I have is, given the fact that this is kind of a new being, for lack of a better word, for this town, I'm curious what the professionals were basing on it without having, I guess, interaction with the board.
Again, they weren't basing it on whether this would generate too much traffic or things like that. They were looking to see whether the materials are complete, that it could then be addressed by this board as part of the secret. And again, if I'm misstating something, I'm asking our.
No, you're exactly right. And Councilman, you said the developer might be surprised down the road. Can you clarify that for me?
Meaning, the way it's currently laid out, it's at 1,000-foot level, I understand. I have significant concerns with it, with just the volume even of what we're talking about. And what I feel horrible is that there's going to be a major investment made into creating the program, creating the plans, involving architects, engineers. I can't even imagine the costs that are going to be associated to come back to us, you know, whether it's a year, year and a half later, the way this process has been going, it's speed. I'm assuming it's going to take some time, and then say, you know what, I'm going to pull the rug out from under you. You know, you're coming here and making up a number. You want 500 apartments. I don't see more than 100 being approved. It seems, given again, we're creating something new here. So we're all in uncharted land. And I think maybe even for these first few projects, given that it's new for everybody, the developers and for the board, that maybe we have to, I guess, expand on the process a little bit further. But the way it seems like it's going, it seems like a regular zoning and planning board process. And I just think we're doing this, you know, I don't think that that's a proper process for this PUD projects that we're looking at currently.
Okay, well, you know, we are following precisely what the PUD law says. And it is different than the typical planning board application. You know, in that case, the applicant submits a site plan application or a subdivision application to the planning board, which complies with the current zoning. In the PUD case, and we've been through the PUD once already, but in the PUD case, developer submits an application which doesn't necessarily comply with the underlying zoning in that zoning district, and the developer, the applicant is asking the board to apply the requested PUD zoning to that particular property. And the board has complete discretion, and the developer is well aware of that. The town board has complete discretion to stop the process at any time, to require modifications in what the developer is seeking to do. And if the developer if those modifications aren't acceptable to the developer, then the project will just die at that point. So the town board has pretty much controls the process. And right now we're at the information gathering stage. We're not even quite at that stage. We're at the scoping stage, which just lays out the issues that have to be addressed and the information that has to be provided in the environmental impact statement.
Well, at this point, I'm going to ask if any of the board members wish to make a motion. We have a proposed resolution, their lead agency, adopt. distribute the draft scoping document and schedule a public hearing on July 8th.
July 8th, that was
7
the recommended
p.m.
date. correct.
Anybody wish to make that motion?
At 7
Motion
PM.
made by Deputy Supervisor.
I don't think the
Charles.
8th is going to be good for me. Is it possible to
We could pick another date. What do we
later,
want to
later,
know?
later in the month be fine?
What is the minimum, is there a minimum, Mr. Bailey, time frame that we need to look at?
No, there's not. But it shouldn't be prior to July.
No,
8th.
no. So why don't we do we have a meeting the 20th. So why don't we do it July 20th, 7 o'clock?
That's a Monday, isn't it?
Monday, yeah, we moved
Oh, okay.
Wednesday as a holiday.
Okay.
So the deputy supervisor makes the motion to approve. Do we have a second? Councilman Rossman, all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gelli. Maybe stick around for the next one.
I will.
That's also a EV application. So we'll go to item,
B.
thank you.
This is item B, it's a referral of a proposed, proposed plan unit development at Viola Road. And this is just the referral of that to the planning board for their comments and review.
And also to recap on this, we had voted to send it to the CDRC. The CDRC reported back that their application is complete and able to proceed for our review. So at this time, if there's any questions or discussion, ask if there's a motion.
I will make a motion that we refer to the planning board with the clear understanding to the planning board, the town board, not taking a position on this development.
Fine, I think that's implicit in our law, but that's fine. We could have the resolution say that. Seconded by Deputy, motion by Councilman Weissman, all seconded by Deputy Charles. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay, that carries also unanimously. Thank you. So we'll move on now.
Item C is an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Rockland for counterterrorism training. They are, the county is going to be reimbursing us $21,000 for overtime expenses incurred with counterterrorism training by the police department.
I'm sorry.
Can we take 1 moment? I'm sorry. Deputy Supervisor Charles has to. Okay. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What was it? Can you repeat that? Apologize.
We are accepting $21,000 in reimbursement from the County of Rockland for for counterterrorism training.
We're paying them.
No, we're
No,
being
they're paying us.
reimbursed.
Oh,
Paying us $21,000.
okay.
All right, who wants to make that motion? Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Weissman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Item D.
The town applied for a grant through our assemblyman for a salt brining station, I guess. And the grant was approved for $100,000. The total cost of the new plant is $131,364.58. Yeah, it's for like a salt brining.
It's basically for the highway department to make their own brine.
Right. So in order to,
We get margaritas. on them.
Just
Assemblyman-
Brian, if we could do some other things.
Yeah. Assemblyman Weeder got us the grant. Very appreciate
I'm
it.
sure he said there's also other things that
He
are supposed
said,
to be
that.
making.
We have to just invite him to the cocktail.
yes, so the company that installs these salt brining plants is Reed System. They're part of the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. The town needs to join in order to purchase that, the brining plant without going up to bid.
What is the cost to join?
I don't think there's a fee.
There's
I'm
not a
not
fee
sure.
for joining. There's not a fee for joining. No.
It's just it's a government.
It's just a
cooperative.
government, yeah.
We
Yeah.
belong to several of them, and there's no fee. Basically, what it does is it allows us to get equipment quicker because they've already gone out to bid.
It's like when we piggyback on the counties.
Right, we do a lot of cooperatives, but the
But it doesn't
grant,
hold us back twice.
no, but the grant that we currently got requires that you do a separate board resolution for this. We belonged to it last year and we never left it, but you have to do it again.
Okay, motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded, Councilman Menino, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carries 4-0. Go to item E, Urban County Consortium.
Yes, so the town currently participates in the Urban County Consortium for the purpose of the CDBG Home Investment Partnerships and Emergency Solution Grants. Our agreement automatically renews every year. And it's going to renew for the 27-28 year on June 18th. So this resolution just allows the supervisor to make a determination whether or not to continue that
We have
agreement.
to actively opt out of it.
Yes,
So
by-
we're still debating the merits. There's advantages to staying in and there are advantages to pulling out. It's the community development block grant program. So.
And they
rather than make a
reduce, I mean,
decision tonight-
let's explain why, in the past, we used to get 500 to
Right.
$1 million a
We have
year.
not gotten.
We got
much at all.
250,000.
Yes.
And we think we could do better on our own.
Right, so we want to continue exploring that for another week.
Were we there those few weeks
Yes.
back?
We did, we
Yes.
came back.
We'll go back out.
6,
Yes,
7 years
we're thinking
ago.
about it
They
because
begged us to come back.
Visionits is gone.
Yeah, so this way we can I can make that decision, and decide whether to sign the letter or not.
And New Square is its own entitlement
Right.
entity.
Okay, do we have a motion? Councilman Rossman makes the motion, second Councilman Wanuna, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carries 4-0. And your last item is the easement to New Hampstead.
Yes, this is just giving the village of New Hampstead an easement over one of our town properties for a sidewalk installation.
Where's this?
And it's at, I think it was Schoolhouse, New Hampstead Road. I'm sorry, what? It's on New Hampstead Road. It's on.
It's it's on
Yeah,
town land.
it's on town property.
I don't have it in front of me.
It wasn't the backup wasn't, the
No,
map
for some
wasn't.
reason it's not
I
included.
have, I'll get it.
All right, we'll get that.
Doesn't even have it.
Give me 1 second and I'll get it.
8.8 linear feet.
Right. I believe that it is the entrance to the land that goes to the back where we were going, Fairway Oval, where that park is. There's a driveway there that's 8 feet wide, our land. I believe that's it. So where you drive in, where you would theoretically drive in off New Hempstead Road, they want to put a sidewalk right there. It's
We're
a small
missing the
patch of
exhibit
land.
A.
Yeah, we are. missing
Before,
There's police.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
before the
2
back.
copies of the
I'll give
easement
it to you.
agreement, but not the.
Give me 1 second and I'll get it for you.
All right, we'll get that. Why don't we
You
move
wanna-
on and come back to it?
Yes,
Item 5, personnel.
yeah,
To promote police officer
Yeah.
John Janito. to the
yes,
rank
we're
of
very
police
happy
sergeant.
we're very happy to ask the town board to promote John Janito to police sergeant. And he's done an excellent job. They've gone through and vetted everybody, and John was chosen by our police department.
We have Captain Colbath, Lieutenant Howell here, and you'll confirm this is your recommendation. Very good.
Recommendation.
Motion, Councilman Rossman, seconded Councilman Wanunu, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0.
Congratulations.
And we congratulate Sergeant Janito, and we look forward to his moving up in responsibility and rank. Thank you. Move on now to, well, we have an executive session. Why don't we do that now? and
Should we
we'll-
not do block it though, so people can go? Just
I'm
one
sorry?
more.
Oh, we can do that. Yeah, why don't we finish up the last item, then we'll do the executive. So we'll come back to the New Hampstead easement as soon as we get the information. Let's go on to 7, new business. First, we have to waive our rules of order. And then we have a new item on to enter into agreement with Orange and Rock. So call for a motion to waive our 24-hour rule. Councilman Rossman makes the motion. I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. So now we have the request by Orange and Rockland that we enter into an authorization with them. And
Yeah, so the property is in Sloatsburg, and it's just a temporary access easement for them to do some line work.
very good. And they will be responsible for.
Yeah, they're gonna give us insurance, they're gonna give us, hold harmless, all the rest of it, and then if there's a point where they want a permanent easement, then they'll comply with all the rest of it. Exactly.
Motion,
Can I
Councilman
just say
Rossman.
something to the council, is that personally, hold on, even these, get out of it, because forever. We need to do the paperwork. make
Well,
sure-
this is just a temporary, yeah.
No,
this
this was
like a
temp, this was temp,
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll make sure that
Okay.
there's some nice,
yeah, the
Strong language in
release, make sure the
Definitely.
release.
Give us an exit. Mhm.
okay.
So we have a motion, a second, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. So we have one, well, we're waiting on the information on the easement with New Hampstead, but we also have an executive session to discuss several items of pending litigation. So if we're not ready on the New Hampstead, we'll get that done after the executive session. So at this time, I'll call for a motion to go into executive session to discuss items of pending litigation. I'll ask that in addition to the board, our attorney, Ms. Slater, and Chief of Staff Montel remain in the room. Motion. Councilman Russman, seconded, Councilman Weissman. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carries 4-0. So this time we will ask the public to leave while we enter executive. Turn up the mic. Thank you. So I'll take a motion to come out of executive session, at which time we discuss matters of pending litigation. Councilman Russman makes that motion. Do we have a second by Councilman Weissman? All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carries 4-0. So at this point, we're going to go back on the agenda to item 4F, the easement agreement with the Village of New Hempstead. Our attorney has the address. Yeah, just for the record, we had discussions during executive session. There's no further action on those items this time. Now we'll ask our attorney on the easement to give us the address.
Before you do that, I think you did need to have action to authorize
We're going to put that on the next one.
the next board meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not ready on that.
Okay.
The property address for the easement is 623 New Hempstead Road, and it's an 8.78 foot strip of land for a sidewalk.
Very good. Do we have a motion to approve? Ross, second. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. I think we have no further business. I just have two announcements that'll be brief. First announcement is that at the June 24th town board meeting, I expect that we will have on the agenda an item to create a sidewalk committee that will be responsible for reviewing where sidewalks should be installed, the priority of when they should be installed, coming up with a time frame, looking at funding opportunities for doing so. So there will be further information about that in 2 weeks. And then the other item is tomorrow is Ramapo Day at the stadium. Come watch the Boulders play. I'm inviting everyone to join us tomorrow night, 6 o'clock at Ramapo Day in our suite, Suite 6.
With food.
With food will be provided. So June 24th, correct. Other than that, I think we have no further business. July 8th, I believe.
Yep.
I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Motion, Councilman Rossman, seconded. Councilman Wenino, in favor. Aye, opposed, abstaining. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a very good night.